We still have a few more tools to take a look at. So we're going to get started in Pixlr. And we're going to open up this first image here of magic lilies. And hopefully you can tell, but just in case you can't, this image is a little dark for what it should be as far as a picture of flowers, generally a little bit brighter. So over here on the tools, there is a button that sort of looks like a black magnifying glass. It's the dodge tool. And what the dodge tool's purpose is to take a dark photo and make it lighter. So up at the top of the screen in your settings, you have brush, which we've seen before, range, and exposure. Range helps you decide which portion of the photo you're going to modify. So if an image is already supposed to be light, like the flower is, you would choose highlights. And then I'm just going to make my brush a little bit bigger here. And you just start to click and drag over top of the image and notice how much brighter it's making the image. Okay, but it's not affecting the background because the background is dark. So after I finish brightening up the flower, then I can go and change my range to shadows, and I can drag over top of the background, and I can start to bring out some of the background. Instead of it being black, now it's like a lighter gray. You kind of experiment with that to get things to be exactly the way you want. But essentially, shadows take something that's dark and makes it lighter, and highlights take something that is light and makes it lighter. And you can really mess this up too if you change the exposure too much. So if I do shadows here and I change the exposure, it just doesn't have the same sharpness. If I choose highlights and the exposure is higher, well, then it just basically becomes white and you don't see a lot of the details anymore. So be careful how you use that. The next tool, we're going to use this picture of Bono. And this is called burn. So if dodge makes things lighter that were dark, then burn is going to take things that are light, like this overexposed photo. His face is way too light. Make my brush much larger here. And if I just start dragging across the face here, you don't really see much of a difference when I have midtones as my selection. If I choose highlights, well, it gets a little too dark. So that's when you do want to mess with your exposure. And in this case, I want less exposure because I want it to be lighter, but still dark. I'm going to take it all the way down to 15. And you can see I'm giving him color in his face, but it's not making it look like I threw ink at him or something. Now, is it going to make the picture perfect? No, but it's going to definitely help. And if I choose shadows in this case, it's only going to darken things that are already dark, like his jacket down here. Hopefully you can see the difference there. His shirt is going to get a little bit darker, and even the background. But it's not going to affect his face very much, except his hair and anything that's already dark, like the shadows on the left side of his face. The picture definitely looks better than it did before. Next tool is the red eye tool. And I really don't have to mention much about this. You basically find a photo that has red eye in it. You click on the red eye tool and you click on the red eyes and they're fixed. If for some reason it doesn't work, play around with your tolerance and it'll work out for you. Next tool we're going to use, actually these are out of order. I'm going to use the picture of Bieber here for this one. Let's give Bieber some muscles. So right below the red eye tool is the bloat tool. And be careful how you use this. I wouldn't use this on pictures of people that you actually know. You could get yourself in some serious trouble. But I'm going to take my brush back down to around 50. All right, so we're going to give Bieber some muscles using the bloat tool. And essentially you want to get your brush size so it's not too big, roughly half the size of his arm here. And you just start clicking on the area that you want to increase. And now all of a sudden, Bieber's got some big old muscles here. Now again, you want to be careful how you use this tool. I would not use this tool on pictures of people you know, because you could get yourself in some serious trouble. But we don't know Justin Bieber, and maybe you have your own opinions on him. It doesn't matter. You can also use it on his nose, or his eyes, or his hair. And it just increases the size of something. When I give him some puffy fingers, sure, why not? But do not use this on anyone you know. The Bloat tool makes things bigger. And finally, we have this picture of a guy who competes in strongman competitions where they pull buses and throw tractor trailer tires. Well, this guy wants to get out of the game, and he wants to see what he would look like if he lost some of his muscle. So next to the Bloat tool is the pinch tool. And you just start on what you want to make smaller. In this case, I'm going to make his biceps smaller, and it's to eat away some of that tricep meat. And here's his forearm. Make those smaller. Now you want to be careful when you're using this, especially if there's some faces in the background like there are here. We'll also pinch those. So you just want to be careful of that. So the Bloat tool makes things larger, and the pinch tool makes things smaller. You could use this on his face. Obviously, this guy could break any one of us in half. But like I said, with the Bloat tool, make sure that you do not use this on people that you know, because you could get yourself in some serious trouble. So practice that on your own. Feel free to go through and look at any of the previous tools that we've looked at as well, and let me know if you have any questions.